following program is sponsored by Michael W. Smith. The views expressed on the following program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership.
Phoenix, Arizona, this is Brother Mike. I'm back on the radio. Welcome to the program. Today's Bible study, Pastoral Anger. Good Bible study today. If you happen to be in the ministry or know someone who's in the ministry who needs help, it's a good one for you. Call somebody and tell them the radio program is on if you would. Thanks for helping the ministry. This is Brother Mike. I'm the professional counselor at the Arizona Deliverance Center. We're in downtown Phoenix on 15th Avenue, just south of Osborne Road. HardcoreChristianity.com is the website, of course, and you can go there to see all of our ministry services. We have 2 live services every week, Thursdays and Fridays at 7 p.m. We have teaching, preaching, healing, and deliverance at every service. You can sign up for one of our free seminars or check out our radio archive program off the website. Thanks for going to the PayPal button, as you always have, sending us a donation over the years. This is our 18th year in the business. Thank you for your help. Sister Karen's on the homepage of the website. She'll be happy to list your house for sale. She loves working with born-again, spirit-filled Christians, that's for sure. And thank you for all your prayers and your support all these years. Thank you for all of our listeners on darkskyradio.com. Wow, my radio program's starting to boom there, and we do appreciate your listening. Thank you again to all of our KXXT Christian radio listeners and Brother Ramon at the station for all the help you've given us over the years. Pastoral anger is a major problem in churches all across the United States. I've counseled numerous pastors and ministers and missionaries and lay workers and everything over the years. I've pretty much seen it all. I say pretty much because nobody ever sees it all. But check out this megachurch in Minnesota, Eagle Brook Church. They are pastored by a guy named Bob Merritt, and he retired after 30 years from their 9-campus church, and he'd written a couple of books called, one was Done With That, Escape the Struggle of Your Life. Another book he wrote was Get Wise, Make Great Decisions Every Day. And this article that I read is talking about his retirement and his career as a pastor there. He's 63 years old now. And he had a severe problem all those years with anger. He had deep-seated anger issues and deep-seated resentment, unforgiveness, and ought issues. In the Bible, Jesus talked about 2 subjects that were very, very interesting and deeply required if you're interested in getting delivered from demons, that's for sure. Forgiving people and releasing the ought you have for them. Now, the ought is the Greek phrase itis, and it means that's something, that little yucky, that ugly kind of sense or feeling or emotion you have for somebody. So you can forgive somebody. Forgiveness is a decision of your will. But you can still have ought for someone even after you've forgiven them. And it's the ought that will block your anointing, your healing, your deliverance, and your miracles. The ought is the major problem with unforgiveness issues. It's that negative sense or feeling you have for that person, and it can be incredibly destructive. And this Bob Merritt guy, megachurch pastor, suffered with it horribly for years. In addition to that, having anger and rage issues, at the root of it, deep-seated in the body, attacking the soul, is always a spirit of anger. And that spirit usually gets into the person's body when they're young, along with the spirit of rejection. The rejection one usually gets in first during a period of great disappointment or trauma, and then the anger spirit and other demons like lust and bitterness and so on, they get in thereafter. Well, this pastor had suffered from this anger issue since he was a kid, and it just manifested dramatically when he was pastoring this megachurch. The church was growing and doing well for quite a long time, and he was doing an excellent job pastoring a church, and his real gift, I guess, was teaching. But after 10 years, they had gone from like few hundred people to 5,000 people. And unfortunately, during that period of time, he mentions in the article that his anger was accelerating and he was doing poorly emotionally. He had a PhD and he was extremely intelligent and highly educated, but he always had this severe anger problem, and it manifested with verbal misconduct and impatience, harsh language, and he was hard on people and hard on himself, and he was hard on his family. And he went on to state in the article that this anger would come out when it was triggered at the church or at home. And after a number of years, the church board finally got together and said, hey, we got to get rid of this guy or do something or send him to counseling. He's gotten worse and worse and worse over the years. About 75 years ago or 70 years ago, the United States churches got rid of deliverance in their services and in their churches. They no longer practice deliverance. And so people that went into the ministry now, as is today, they go into the ministry because they have an urge or a desire to help people, or they feel God calling them into the ministry. And then they go get some education, usually at a Bible school or seminars or seminaries, different things like that. Then they supposedly graduate, they get out, and they go into the ministry. And then they start learning on the job and, kind of work their way up from there. Well, that's what happened to this Merritt guy. The problem is that in the first century church, deliverance was a common thing, and everybody went through it. It was just a common thing to get delivered from demons after you became a born-again Christian. You got saved, you went through deliverance, you got water baptized, you repented of your sins. That was a normal routine back in the first century, and nobody thought anything of it. The Bible fully supported it. It's mentioned in the Great Commission in Mark chapter 16 and in Matthew chapter 28. Deliverance has always been, and healing, part of the glorious gospel program. It was just, back then it was just like another thing. It was common sense. Everybody got delivered from demons. Everybody got healed. It was just a routine thing. Now, in our society, it is anything but routine, and they let people like Bob Merritt go into the ministry before he had gone through deliverance, before he had gone through inner healing, and the people that let him in the ministry didn't know anything about it either. So this poor guy suffered for decades until the church board got together and they said, hey, you either need to quit or you go get help. And they sent him to a Christian counselor, and he went through a full year of counseling, and he did improve in several areas. And they had a group meeting at the church before they sent him in for counseling, and everybody read their description of him, and his son also got up and read a description of him, he said, and this pastor was sitting there weeping and crying because he was so busy and so swamped with church work and serving God work, the Christian earn your salvation works type thing. He was so busy with working in the church and his ministry, he could never see his own demons until his son read a letter and it just broke him, and that's what he needed. Well, he went to counseling for a year and he came back to work, but several years after that, they came to him again and said, hey, having some more problems with your anger. Need to go back and see the counselor. And then he describes in the article how he went back to counseling and it felt a lot better and did a lot better and so on. The problem is here, again, he never went through deliverance. He never got rid of the anger spirits hiding in his body. And if you don't get rid of the spirits, they always come back later and manifest again. They will always come back later and manifest again. You can't get away from the spirits. If you don't get them out, they will come back and they will destroy you. The demons will make you pay sooner or later. Just like they got this Bob Merritt, they will get you. What needs to be done? Churches have got to put deliverance back into their programs. They have to do it. At the Arizona Deliverance Center, we're not a church. We're a supplement to your church. And we don't try to take members from your church. We are adjunct to your church. And some churches are too scared or too ignorant to put deliverance into their churches, so they send them to us. And that's fine. We help everybody that comes to us, regardless of what church they go to. We've even had Catholics come to us to get delivered. And as you can imagine, they have a lot of familiar spirits from worshiping idols and things like that. We've had a lot of people come to us from deliverance. We're happy to help and serve the churches in that manner. We're not trying to become a church, so we're not competing with anybody to get their tithes or their offerings. We're just providing the service that God gave us to share. We're just all servants over at the Arizona Deliverance Center, and we're not trying to take people from your church. If you send somebody over to us, we are going to see them healed and delivered, and then we're going to send them back to you, usually, probably. In this particular case, Mr. Merritt eventually retired at age 62 or 63, but he never went through deliverance. And you can be 100% sure that this anger thing will come back later, because you can beat the demons down, you can beat the anger down, you can beat the lust down by reading the Bible more, praying more, going to church more, fasting some, and so on. But the demons will always remanifest later during periods of trials and tribulations and during periods of heartbreak and disappointment. They always come back. They wait for an opportune time, an opportune moment to strike, and then they come back, and then there you go again. You're angry again, you're raging again, you're bitter again, you're lusting again, and this horrible cycle continues until you drop dead. When you drop dead, the demons leave your body and go back to another family member and try and infect them. Well, after you die, you leave your body and you go to be with the Lord. To be absent with the body is to be present with the Lord. The demons don't go to heaven with you. They leave your body and they go attack another family member. The best thing to do is go through deliverance now, get the demons out now, get rid of the symptoms from the demons, anger, bitterness, lust, whatever it may be, and then the demons won't be there when you die to attack your family members and your other loved ones. 602-636-5800. If you're a pastor and you got a secret anger issue, I've had dozens of pastors come to me over the years. We do it all in confidence. Almost every one of them got delivered and healed. You could be next, but don't let your ministry blow up in your face and go through the embarrassment of getting fired and humiliated because you left the demons of anger and lust in your body. They manifested, and then they took you away.
The views expressed on this program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership. This program was sponsored by Michael W. Smith.